common side effect of mental illness is suicide. Sorry, side effect is the wrong word. I meant consequence. Consequence is more apt. It's not like you get diagnosed and the doctor goes, you have depression, lock the windows, dismantle the fan. No, that's not what I meant. What I meant to say was that if you don't treat mental illness correctly, then the person with the illness could commit suicide. And this is something we read about in the news very often these days, don't we? But it's always when a famous person does it, which again gives people the impression that, yeah, this could never happen to me. These rich people, no? Always doing drugs. Always. Which is actually not true. Literally anyone with a mental illness could commit suicide. But nobody wants to read a headline that says Praveen Tambe committed suicide because of depression. And I remember whenever I used to read these news headlines, I used to get very judgmental. I used to be like, look at these celebrities, they're so rich, they're so successful, they have everything, and they're still killing themselves. They're ungrateful cowards. And then I got diagnosed and I was like, oh, I see. Apparently, mental illness does not give a fuck about how much money you have, how successful you are. So what's the point of working so hard then? So then I stopped judging because now I understand. I'm on the same side, These people, they don't kill themselves because they're ungrateful. They don't commit suicide because they're cowards. It takes a lot of guts to do it. They don't want to die. They just want whatever's going on in here to stop. And they will do whatever it takes to get there. It's a very twisted form of self-preservation. It's kind of like how you guys eat ice cream as comfort food when you're feeling low to feel better. That's exactly what suicide feels like for us. Suicide is ice cream for people with mental illness. Now, in order to make that joke work, what I thought I'd do is I'll distribute ice cream at the start of the show. And then do this bit, just to see the look on everybody's faces. ये क्षितिज तू ही खा ले यार मेरे को. In case you're wondering, the answer to your question is yes. I have thought about my own suicide. Because comedy shows happen in the night. I have a lot of free time during the day. What are you going to do? Like, let me give you a glimpse into a day in my life before I got diagnosed, okay? I would wake up at 8 o'clock and then go back to sleep because I can. And then I would wake up at 10, feed my cats, have breakfast, read the news, cook some food, have lunch, and then at 3 o'clock I would watch Friends on Comedy Central. And at 3:30 I would be like, this has been a very stressful day. Now with the illness, it is all of that, plus I spend an additional 6 hours a day just doubting myself. Constantly beating myself up, trying to convince myself that I'm never going to make it in life. There are a lot of things I didn't know about this business. There are a lot of things you guys don't understand. For instance, when a gig gets over and the audience leaves and the lights go out, comedy is a very dark place. There are a lot of people that we have to deal with, mostly on the internet. And they're filled with so much of hate and insecurity, and for some reason they feel the need to project that onto us. Other comedians will bitch about you and they can't wait for you to fail. People you work with in show business will stab you in the back without thinking twice. They forget that off stage and behind the Twitter handle is a real human being. You've seen how people talk to each other on the internet, haven't you? Very polite and articulate. I remember this one time somebody commented in one of the episodes on my podcast and he wrote, "Fix the audio, cunt face." It was a very confusing comment. Because first of all, whose vagina looks like this? And if it does, lucky you. Stop looking downstairs now. Shows up here. But after the confusion died down, I realized that this guy was not angry about the audio. This was a cry for help. Because think about this, how many things have to go wrong in your life for you to get to a stage where you speak to total strangers like this? People in this room, you would never do something like that. Right? I realized this is a cry for help. Somebody needs to reach out to this guy and say something to him so that he feels better. So I replied. I was like, hey man, just because your dad spoke to your mom the same way before leaving her doesn't mean you speak like that to me. Let's have some manners here. This is not your house. This is the internet. Enter. You guys are on my side, right? I'm just checking. See, I have a simple rule, okay? Don't say something to somebody on the internet that you don't have the balls to say to them in real life. Is that fair? Yeah, it's because people like these, they don't understand what it takes to be so vulnerable with your craft and to put yourself out there for the whole world to judge. I mean, think about what you do for a living, right? Now imagine, what if everybody with access to the internet on this planet could see your work anytime they wanted? And what if they could then comment on your work, even if they weren't experts in your field? And suddenly you're waking up at 3 in the morning with a notification on your phone that says, "Tu chutiya hai." And I get that this is something that comes with the territory of what we do, okay? And I'm okay with that, which is why I also say that if you like an artist's work, whoever it is, an actor, a comedian, or a musician, let them know. Let them know, because there are enough assholes out there who think that their only job in life is to bring us down a notch or two. Why? Because we have the guts to do what they can't. And let me say this, okay? We don't do this for money or fame. We do this because it's the only thing that makes us feel alive. And the money is pretty amazing. But sometimes when I think about this thing that I love doing in the world that I have to do it in, I'll be really honest, I have thought about killing myself. I've come really close a couple of times. This one time I was feeling suicidal and I told a friend of mine, she actually gave me suggestions as to how I could do it. Yeah, she's a very encouraging type. You know, everybody has that one friend, very supportive, believes in you no matter what. She's that friend. Years ago, I told her, I'm going to try stand-up. She's like, you're very funny. Just go for it. You'll do really well. I want to kill myself. Who better than you? So she was of the opinion that I should make my suicide grand and spectacular. So she suggested that I jump out of an airplane without a parachute while the plane is in the air. Otherwise, that would be a really bad YouTube video. Get another comment. Let the plane take off, cunt face. I thought about it for a while and I realized that jumping out of an airplane without a parachute is not grand and spectacular unless the jumping is preceded by Ganpati Bappa! So I said, no, I don't want to do that. But she was like, okay, that's fine. I have an entire list. And she pulls up a list of ways that I could kill myself. And number 2 on that list is cyanide. She's like, have cyanide? It's really quick. I'm like, what's your hurry? That's when I realized this girl would not be giving me so many suggestions if I owed her some money. That's when I learned an important lesson. If you want your friends to prevent you from killing yourself, borrow money from them. Even if you don't need it, borrow money from 5 different people, keep it inside a safe. That is real life insurance. See, I don't want to jump out of an airplane or a building or any height because that's a very violent death. Probably very painful as well. You know? Like I don't want the scene of my death to be a mess. I don't want people gathering around me going, "Ye kya hua?" And then they have to collect all my parts. Like, ये इधर ला, ये इधर ला. ये किसका है? तेरा है, उसका है? बहुत बड़ा है, उसका ही होगा. रख ले यहाँ पे. Ego. I want to have an open casket funeral, which is why I've decided to take a more mature and responsible approach to my suicide. Drug overdose. figure at God on a high. And I don't want to have my funeral inside a church, you know. It's very 2005. Everybody's doing it. Same thing. Huh? I want to have my funeral inside a comedy club. Yeah, and we'll sell tickets online. It'll be sold out, obviously. And you can come for my funeral. You'll be seated exactly like this, except I won't be standing here because I'm dead. But there'll be a casket. I'll be inside it. I'll be wearing a suit. It'll be open. My hair will be done. And obviously. And then if you want, you can come up on stage and pay your last respects. Yeah. You can say something as well, but say something nice. Don't be mean, I might wake up. And then once you're done, get your phone out and take one last selfie. One last selfie before they put me in the ground. And then as you're leaving, to make you feel better, somebody at the door will give you ice cream. Now I know I may have ruined ice cream for some of you. If I have, then good. Because now every time you eat ice cream, I want you to remember that somebody out there, somebody you know, might be having a hard time. So stay the fuck away from them. And I can see the look on your faces right now. You know this awkward tension that you're feeling because of what I've just said. I love it. You don't know what to do with this. This was not the comedy show you were expecting. You're going to go home, think about this show, probably going to post on social media, oh my God, I think I just attended Daniel Fernandes' last show. What if you're right? And if some of you are getting triggered by what I've just said, I want to let you know that I don't endorse suicide, okay? I'm not the brand ambassador. They haven't asked me yet. I'm just saying that this is how I feel. It is okay to feel suicidal. It's a very human thing. It's the same thing. You know when you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like going to work? It's the same thing, but with life. So don't go around saying, Danny ne bola to main bhi karega. Don't do that, guys. Plagiarism is not cool. You know, when I wrote this part of the show about a year and a half ago, right? I thought that I would tie this bit up with a happy ending about how I overcame my illness and beat it and I won. But that hasn't happened. Which is why some of my friends ask me, then why are you talking about this? And I think the reason why I'm talking about my mental illness in my stand-up is because because I feel that if I do this, then maybe I won't feel so alone. And if there are other people in the audience who are going through the same thing, then maybe they won't feel alone either. Because there's a certain comfort in your suffering when you realize that you are not the only one being fucked. You remember when we were in school and you had a test and you didn't study for the test? You knew you were going to fail. You felt really bad, didn't you? But then you met somebody else who also didn't study for the test. And suddenly your day became brighter. You're like, I didn't study for the test. I didn't study either, bro. And then he passes the test. So basically what I'm trying to say is that some of you will die before me. And that thought gives me a lot of comfort. So thank you.